Thanks, Coach, for the time. So you have most of the team here during the summer. What's changing now that, they're in practice as official? What's different?
Really not that much different other than we just have more time. So, we're doing a lot of the same stuff. We're just doing it for longer stretches. And, we kind of had the basics of, like, say, the offense in, and now we're starting to expand that and put more things in just because we have more time. So we've kind of worked on the fundamentals of the offense, defense throughout the summer and fall, and now we're starting to kind of grow that.
And with a year where you have so much changeover, you're losing so many people, bringing so many new people, younger people in, how does your coaching change now with the new group of people?
Yeah, one of the things we did is the last couple of years, we've done a little more like small group and skill type stuff in the summer, in the fall, because we had so many returners who kind of knew what we were doing. But we did a lot more team stuff this summer just to get everybody a little further ahead than maybe we would be had we kept with the same old formula.
And then conditioning for the freshmen. You're bringing a lot of new people. Your offense is very up-tempo. Is that kind of a shock for maybe some freshmen?
I think that's the biggest adjustment. Even for Chance and Ajae Petty, who transferred in from other universities, what we do and how we do is completely different. And so that I don't want to speak for them, but I would tell you that's probably one of the biggest adjustments that all the newcomers are going through.
When you have, Kevin, when you have two people like Cotie and Thierry who are so important to what you did last year, how important is their experience both on and off the floor for such a new team?
Yeah, we certainly got to lean on them because with so many newcomers and losing, I think the biggest thing, when you guys watch us play early on, you're going to see a lot of talent out there and a decent amount of depth. But with so many newcomers, it's just when are we going to kind of get that chemistry and everybody going to feel comfortable doing what we do, number one. Probably even more important than that, you lose somebody like J.C. Sheldon, who's one of the best leaders we've had here in a long time. How do you replace that? And that's where you got to, Taylor, Madison, Cotie, they've got to step up and provide some leadership.
You mentioned the young players. Like, what gives you confidence that, those players can give this team the depth it needs when you don't have a ton of players who have played a ton here?
Yeah, just watch them in practice. I think we've got some talent, but it's just how quickly it all kind of comes together. It's a little bit of the unknown. So, we're going to be really pushing them really hard here in the next month to make as much progress as we can.
Among those freshmen, who do you feel like can contribute right away for this team?
Jaloni's a special talent. She can really play. I think she'll have a chance to help us right away. Ava Watson's been really good. She shoots the ball extremely well. She's got a very high basketball IQ. Elsa will give us great size and length and athleticism around the basket. Now she's coming off of an injury her last year of high school in Finland, so she's still kind of she's practicing, but she's still kind of getting comfortable out there because she didn't really start going live here until a couple weeks ago. So it's going to take her a while to get comfortable, but I think she's got a very bright future.
How do you feel like Jaloni, Chance, Madison can all kind of complement each other in the backcourt?
Yeah, no, I think they're all a little bit different. And, Jaloni's just so fast up the court and has command of the ball. And Madison, knock on wood, looks as good as she's looked since the injuries and more comfortable. And she gives us great experience. And she just makes everybody around her better. And she's also a great defender. And then Chance just got a knack for scoring the ball. So, I think they all bring something a little bit different, but I think, they're all going to be instrumental or integral and part of what we're trying to accomplish.
And obviously rebounding was a problem for his team last year. Do you feel like this roster construction is better for the rebounding this year?
I think personnel-wise, Ajae Petty's a really good rebounder. She averaged 11 rebounds playing in the SEC. Elsa, I think, can also really help with that. And we just need Taylor, Thierry, and Cotie to also step up and help.
Kevin, speaking of I want to go back to Chance. Have you seen some sort of veteran presence of her playing in college for as long as she has already?
Yeah, she's a talented player, and she's picking up things quickly because she's got a high basketball IQ, and she's a really hard worker and a good communicator. And so I just think to your point, to her experience, having played at a high level, she's going to be able to impact us right away.
And also Cotie, we talked a little bit about her already. She obviously had a very eventful summer, traveling overseas, playing in the 3-on-3.
Yeah.
What type of aggression, or what more are you expecting from her in her third year this year?
Yeah, I think if you look at last year, she played really well, like January, February, and down the stretch of the season, but kind of got off to a slow start for her standards. And so I just think that hopefully she can put it together from day one to the last game, where she can be really consistent in being who she's capable of being.
And to bounce back off of that, with her, that 3x3, I mean, that's such a specific skill set.
Yeah.
How does that improve her presence in the paint, especially when you talk about rebounding and just having her in the post?
I think one, just in general, that 3-on-3 plays to her strengths because you give her more space to play and she's really effective. And so, but I just think kind of different ways to play the game and learn the game and grow her IQ and ways of doing things has been really good for her.
And these first couple of days, you talked about having a lot of raw talent. What are you hoping to see in these first couple of practices?
Just effort and energy and really focus too, because you go from like 1 hour workouts, what we were doing, to now 2.5 or 2:45. You got to really be able to lock in and focus because we're putting in some new things and expanding what we're doing. So just getting really good reps throughout that time to build good habits.
Going back to Jaloni, her and Kennedy, obviously sisters, how do you see those two complement each other on the court?
Yeah, Kennedy's had a good fall so far, and she's a talented player, and she redshirted last year, so we're excited to get her out there. And they're both very talented, and Jaloni's probably a little bit better in the open court with the ball in her hands, and Kennedy's probably a little bit better off the court or off the ball, catching, shooting, making plays, but both really good players.
And obviously Kennedy transferred in here, Jaloni committed here. I mean, how much of an impact do both of those have on recruiting the separate ones?
They're both high profile people that other people I think want to play with. Kennedy obviously had a relationship with Petty, and that helped kind of jumpstart us trying to get her. And Jaloni's somebody that people want to play with because she shares the ball, and so I think that her impact for recruiting in the next couple of years could be really huge.
Yeah, I know in the last couple of years you've talked a lot about how important culture is to this team. So kind of the first couple of weeks here, how would you describe the culture so far?
We've got a really hardworking group that are really challenging and pushing, a very competitive group. So I'd say the competitive character of this group is really good. And I think that's, rising tide lifts all boats. And so they're really working hard against each other. And I think if we can continue with that, it's going to be very impactful, just our growth and development.
Kevin, when you have such an expansive schedule and traveling really across the whole country, how do you think that's going to impact players? And I don't know if you had a chance to talk to Jake Diebler about the situation of the new Big Ten and how that's going to impact any of the travel schedule, et cetera. But what were your thoughts?
It's just like you go to LA to play 2 games. It's going to be a long week, and so we'll obviously have a plan for just the academics and so forth. But we're still kind of discussing, when we go. Do we just go the night before? Do we go 2 nights before? And we've got the sports science people involved with that, with sleep and all that. So just trying to have a good plan. And it's still evolving, but we'll get a plan together and try to execute it best as possible.
I guess specifically about USC, they obviously had, in terms of recruiting and transferring, they had some of the top recruits and transfers go there this summer. How do you feel about playing them, especially in the Galen Center?
No, they're both USC and UCLA are 2 of the most talented teams in the country, let alone our conference. So those are going to be challenging games. But we're happy to have them in the conference. It's only going to make us. I already felt like we had the best conference in women's basketball, but we clearly do at this point. And so I think that'll help everybody. And I think kids are going to want to play in this league.
Kevin, you've obviously been excited to get Jaloni in the program for a while now. When you have somebody like that with such a in terms of the ranking and so much high expectations, how do you feel like she's handled that? And then how do you as a coach handle that while also trying to bring her along and not put too much on her?
Yeah, no, she's handled it great. She's a very, very humble kid and a great kid. She's been just awesome to have here, the short time we've had her. But I think she'll handle it fine just because she comes from a great family. She's got great parents, and we'll push her and coach her like we would everybody else. And that's one person I'm not worried about, like just the outside noise. She just doesn't pay attention to it too much.
Last I checked, we get 14 players on the roster. Are you planning on adding a 15th player to the roster?
No, we got too many as it is. It's we got 14, and that's as many as we've had in a long time. So, no, we're not adding anybody else this year.
Kevin, sorry.
Thinking Rebecca's been here the last 3 years and she leaves. She was a huge part of your 5-out because she could stretch the defense. She could stand out there, hit a 3. Now with Ajae in there, you have Ebony behind her. How does that change your offensive game plan? Not just rebounding, but how you move the ball.
Yeah, it'll be similar, but we'll make some tweaks with it, and also may do some things to throw the ball around the basket a little more because Rebecca was so good on the perimeter. So most of what we did with her was perimeter based, and Ajae and Elsa both are good around the basket. So we'll probably do most of the same stuff, but tweak it here and there.
Still a month before the regular season, but I guess you have sort of an idea of the identity of the team or maybe a biggest strength so far?
I think it will look similar in terms of the pace that we want to play with. We're going to continue to press, and so I think that just the identity of the team will be similar to what you guys have seen in past years.
Kevin, what is the health status of the team? Will Madison still? How was her overall recovery?
Yeah, she's doing great. She's doing really good. The only person that's not practicing for it now is Ella Hobbs, our freshman, who she sustained an injury in her senior year of high school, and so she's still a ways from being able to do that. Everybody else is out there though.
So I want to open it up to Zoom here for a second. Get some couple questions in here. Go ahead when you're ready.
Hi, Kevin. You mentioned the team building at the beginning. Can you go a little in depth on what that team building kind of looked like?
Yeah, no, we just try to get them to spend some time together off the court more than anything, and really we've I met with a couple of the upperclassmen a week ago, and they've got some ideas, some things like they're going to go to a haunted house and some stuff like that, and then when we've had some recruits here and. We did some stuff with that where the whole team was together, and I've kind of like left it up to them and just let them know like, hey, whatever help you need from us, we can do it.
And Kennedy obviously had that full season on the bench getting to watch the team. How much did that kind of help her just transition into playing for you guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, she got to practice last year and watch us just to get a better feel for kind of who we are and what we do and how we do it. And so I think that's been beneficial for her, and she's had a good summer and fall so far.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yep. Go ahead.
Kevin, when you talk about having such a new group, does that, obviously you still have some leaders from last year, but does having a new group help put last year behind you, or you feel like having leaders kind of emphasizes kind of the urgency for this year?
Yeah, like every year is such a new journey, but it certainly feels much different, like because we had like some people that were here a long time, and so it certainly feels different. But like I said, the energy of the group is good, and I think everybody's ready to go, and so I think everybody knows this is a new season, and we got to kind of evolve and make our way, and we'll do it.
Do you have an idea of like how many players you want to have in the rotation, or how many you think you can have?
Not yet. I think that we'll have to get a little closer to games to kind of figure that out, see who continues to get better, and because I think some of the newcomers are going to make progress, some quicker than other, and so we'll see.
You touched upon it talking about USC and UCLA. What's your general impression of what the Big Ten will look like in terms of competition? Obviously, kind of the post-Caitlin Clark era, but you both know this league has never lacked for talent.
No, I mean, I think those are the two most talented teams, and so I think they'll be really, really good. But there's a lot of teams that are going to be good. Indiana's going to be good. I think Iowa's still going to be really good. Maryland did a really nice job in the offseason. So Oregon did a great job in the offseason. So it'll be very challenging.
Does starting Big Ten play so early this year change kind of maybe the pace of what you want to get used to your rotation, or so maybe how you experience?
No, I mean, I think once the season, I mean, not that we're going to peak in November, but we'll be ready to go, and Big Ten starts in December and is what it is. I do think we'll probably be better later than early, just with the newcomers, but.